The concept of going out to play games was something I was going for, like getting people into the same room to play these multiplayer games. But I wasn't interested in the nostalgic aspect of it because there's so many great new arcade games that, you kind of don't need those old games to make a space like this.
So it goes way further back than Wonderville when Mark first built his first arcade cabinet, and I thought it was going to be a hobby. But I had no idea that Mark was going to all of a sudden be like, I want to build another one. And I was like, why do you want to build another one? We have the one. And slowly discovered this community, but it was what really opened our minds to, you don't have to put Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on a MAME cabinet. We could find a game that somebody locally made and showcase it and promote them and promote the creativity behind building games.
So at that time I had a workspace in Greenpoint and we were building more and more cabinets, and we would sort of just ask different art galleries, music venues, like, hey, can we bring some arcade cabinets here for a couple months? So we collaborated with Elsewhere, local music venue, Super Chief Gallery, the Dream House. There were all of these different venues that we were sort of like renting box trucks and moving arcade cabinets around. And during this time, I was sort of starting to look at opening up a space because it was getting a little crazy, like, well, what do you do after you have 30 cabinets? We need a place to put all this stuff.
Yeah, so we had a collection of games, and I'm sure he doubted my support for a while because he would find these properties that needed hundreds of thousands of dollars in renovation that I didn't think would be good spaces for what Wonderville was to become. And we got very lucky that the location we have now, Friends had the lease and they were looking to start something new. So so we were able to take over their lease and open up Wonderville.
And so we said yes, but my wife and I, we didn't have that much money, so we launched a Kickstarter in 2019, and we said we have a space, we just have to raise the money to get it, and we reached our goal. We actually exceeded our goal, and 10 years and 30 arcade cabinets later, here we are at Wonderville.
It was really important to Mark and I that Wonderville be accessible to as many people as possible so that the games are as accessible to as many people as possible. We also have some unique games that it would be hard to even figure out how to charge for a play experience. So that's why we decided to keep them all free play, because we want people to come in and enjoy the games.
The moment I found out that Wonderville could potentially be a thing, I was like, holy crap, like I will just give any money I could possibly give for this bar to exist. And Wonderville just has like other stuff going on. It's also like a venue. They have shows here. So it's just like a cool hub for people that are into like video games and like have nerdy habits. Like I think it's just like very cool to be a nerd again because of a place like this.
So this is Wonderville. Which is kind of a combination modern, indie, arcade, hipster scene with also music venue and cheap drinks, but not as cheap as they should be. I don't know. There's some good games here and there's some trash games.
The games don't collect income or anything, so the agreement is like we have it in this space and we take care of it and maintain it, and we replace parts as we need to, and in return, like, you want to do a launch party here, like you want to have a place where you can direct people to see your game, like we're the venue for you. Like anything you want to do for your game, just talk to us and we'll have like a night set aside.
Yeah, I mean, like, just having this space is kind of like the inspiration for even doing this in the first place, because like if this wasn't here, would we have thought to make a cabinet and try to put it out someplace? Maybe. But like this makes it a whole hell of a lot easier to kind of have that idea and like really see it as like a realistic goal. It also gave us a place to like bring it for playtesting. So like the last Tuesday of every month they do a playtest, and so we would come through and have people play it and like get a feel for like whether or not people were enjoying it in the first place. And then we got to put it on the Wonder Cab. So we got to have it here for 3 months on someone else's cabinet to like let it live here for a bit and really like make sure that it like fit in and belonged here.
So with the Wonder Cab, we switch that game every 3 months, and when we get submissions, we choose a game about a month before it goes on the cabinet because we usually have to have a conversation about arcadeifying that game, you know, whereas we're sort of like, okay, you can't have like a quit button, right? Like this is gonna be on this cabinet, so it has to just like run. And we kind of want to get people playing the game as soon as possible. So there's games with like a lot of menu options where we're like, you know what? You don't have to pick a hat. Like just get the player into the game as fast as you can because people lose interest, you know? They want to press a button like twice and be playing a game. And you also kind of have to explain the game through the gameplay, right? People don't want to read menus. They kind of want to just like get up there and figure it out. So we spend about 3 weeks kind of talking about like, well, maybe you could make these minor alterations to put this on the cabinet.
It's like an interesting challenge. Like if somebody sits down at the arcade cabinet, they have to understand what the game is about right away, but there also has to be enough depth that someone who comes back to the bar over and over wants to keep playing the game, right? It's a tricky balance.
That was not fair. I wasn't looking. I was paying attention to where I was.
Pay attention to the games. Me and my wife are very competitive. And
I'm not that competitive. I just like this game.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
And it makes me aggressive towards it. I'm not. And it's like such a fun. This bar is awesome. Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay.
This bar is awesome because there's so many like just random like games here, and they're really fun. And then we discovered this one, and like we'll literally be at home, and he'll be like, "Should we go play Specla?"
It was a bonding thing.
It was a bonding thing.
It's still a bonding
It is still a bonding thing. It's just like also like fun, you know, like
Oh shit. That was
oh, that's the randoms. So that's fun too, and he just told us that the mayhem feature is new, which was like newish because we were like, what is this? And at first we weren't sure about it, and now it's super fun.
Yeah, no, if you distribute a video game, usually what happens is that someone who you've never met somewhere across the world, you don't even know that they're actually playing it, but when you have it in a physical space like this, then you get this really like in-person, very like kind of visceral feedback where you can see people like literally screaming at each other playing the game, which is very fun, of course. But also when they aren't happy with the game, which is like the constructive feedback, that's also super helpful. I think there's a ton of potential in it actually, especially in a public space like a bar or something, where you get such a big social aspect. I feel like the whole couch co-op thing is kind of not as big as it used to be, and I think this is kind of the next iteration of it. You go out somewhere and you play a game together in person.
It's both an art gallery, but it also means anybody can go and play any game at any time, and that means that the games, I think, get more play than they would in a standard arcade. So there's a lot of buttons that have to be replaced. There's joysticks that need to be cleaned. And I'm primarily doing most of the maintenance. And some of the newer games we've built in such a way that they don't go down as much. And the older ones we've been refurbishing, so, you know, we're making them a little better than when we first built them. But yeah, I mean, there's constantly a problem with at least one game in the space. One thing that really helped was I put up a dry erase board and I said, tell me what's broken. And so whenever I come in, if I'm away for the weekend, then I know it's like, okay, one of these games broke, a joystick broke, I just quickly fix it. And sort of once a week I'll go around and do a general assessment of all the games. You know, we actually have a membership program where people can donate on a monthly basis, like $5, $10, you know, and I think a lot of people who are like, we want to support you guys staying open, and it's like, well, that helps us buy new joysticks and buttons when the time comes.
I have to stop and remember, like, Wonderville is not just a bar, that there is really a community behind us and makes us special and makes us unique, and we're just so beyond appreciative of that community.
This is truly like my third place. Like I go to work, I go home, I come here. Like people, I come here, people know my name, you know what I mean? And so I just feel like when I'm here, I feel just very safe and I have a sense of belonging. And I feel very privileged to say that because I feel like a lot of people don't have that in their lives. Like I feel like a lot of people like seek that out, you know? So I don't know. This is a place I've been dreaming of since I was like an awkward 13-year-old playing The Sims until 4 in the morning. Like I finally found my people. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wonderville is somewhat of a destination. Like people visit New York, and Wonderville, at least if there's like a games person, is sort of on the list to visit. And I think it's because a lot of these games you can't play anywhere else in the country. And so when I meet people that are like, oh yeah, I like live in Seattle, but I knew about Wonderville, so when I visited New York, I wanted to make sure I stopped by. And that's really incredible because it's like, you know, I don't know you, or like, I don't know how you found us, but you know that we have this collection of unique, independently made arcade games. And I think that's really exciting, especially for people who are game developers or who appreciate, like, you know, this art form of building physical arcade machines.